I'm coming at this a little late, but I wanted to say something that I haven't seen many people say. I'll be focusing on Lewis in this video. I only added Katie in the thumbnail because she also thinks like this, and I'll say a little more about her later. Another thing, please don't mind the AI voice. It's only to protect my identity. It was 1989, and a woman was brutally raped and attacked while she was jogging. She was later found by police and sent to the hospital. The police brought 5 kids from the park down to the station, and those kids were interrogated, some even beaten, by the police until they were forced to confess to the crime. This was a huge story at the time, and 2 weeks after the initial attack, while the victim was in a coma and the boys awaited their trial, Donald Trump paid a reported $85,000, about $200,000 today, for advertising space in 4 of the city's newspapers, including the New York Times. The boys pleaded not guilty during their trial, and there was no real DNA evidence that proved either of them committed the crime, but the jury found them all guilty anyway. I have articles for you to read about the Central Park 5, along with some articles about some things I mention later, in the description. Some of you may already see the similarities between this major event and the minor one between a group of YouTubers. 1. 5 boys are being accused of a crime they did not commit, which is similar to Danky Jabo being accused of things he did not do. 2. Donald Trump inserts himself and spreads and pushes the notion that those boys had done something wrong, which is similar to Lewis inserting himself and spreading and pushing the notion that Danky Jabo had done something wrong. 3. After the boys were proven innocent, Trump still insisted they were guilty, similar to how in Lewis's live stream he tried to insist he was in the right. But this is where the similarities diverge, because unlike Trump, Lewis apologized personally to Danky Jabo and to his audience. Which actually isn't saying much considering the fact that this isn't his first rodeo, and he still hasn't learned. This mindset can be found in a lot of people, especially people with platforms. I don't care how far right or left someone is, anyone can think like this. It was apparent that Trump's ads helped the public decide that it was definitely those 5 kids that did it. In their minds it couldn't have been anyone else. And a part of me doesn't blame them because you would expect newspapers like the New York Times to show you the facts. But this is where open-mindedness and critical thinking come into play. When I first saw Lewis's video on Danky Jabo, I could feel myself being swayed when he said Danky Jabo was making fun of the abused woman by making the annoying orange joke, or that Danky Jabo deleted his Patreon after Katiclyzm's Insta story. But I used my mind and critical thinking skills and came to the conclusion that Danky Jabo was making jokes, and it was obvious, and there's possibly another totally separate reason he could have deleted his Patreon. You never know the full story, so it's important to always think from both sides. It was very clear to me that Lewis had already picked a side when he made that video despite him saying he was just putting the information out there. The smart thing to do would have been to not make that video at all. But he did. What I think he should have done instead is put the info out there like he did initially, but also come up with possible reasons for why Danky Jabo could have done those things, and less name-calling. He definitely could have come up with possible defenses for Danky Jabo since he was coming out with assumptions left and right, and for those who don't know, when you assume, you make an ass out of you, not me. It's a joke saying, but I feel it holds its weight in this case. Another case of Lewis exhibiting this mindset is when he made his video trying to expose Pumpkin Lad 69 and accused him of pedophilia, faking his body type and ethnicity, among other things. Similar to how he and Katie tried to explain racism to Danky Jabo, an Egyptian man, was very ignorant. And Lewis claiming Pumpkin was faking his race reminds me of when Trump started insisting Obama wasn't a born American. Pumpkin ended up coming out to defend himself and proved the lies about him to be false, and he has apologized for his previous wrongdoings. Lewis has yet to make a video apologizing to Pumpkin for spreading false information about him. When I first watched a Lewis McClung video, I thought, he's cringe, but in a way that seems a little cool. The way he dresses, sort of like a pirate, and also the way he obviously keeps a fan or air conditioner behind the camera to make his hair blow in the wind like Beyoncé are things I haven't seen many creators do. But the thing I liked about him the most, though, was his outro and how he listed his audience's potential hobbies and told the audience their projects looked great. I watched him on occasion and only subbed after his video on the TikTok ban. But he has had bad takes this whole time, and him trying to call out Dream despite Dream already clearing his name on several occasions tells me he isn't really learning from this because he is still spreading false notions. And that brings me back to this mindset. It's very apparent in leftist YouTubers like nickisnotgreen and how he inserted himself into the super mega drama and spread and pushed false information about them. There are many others like them. And like Trump, they don't admit when they're wrong. This goes for the people who make up false accusations of sexual assault towards content creators, getting people to help back the accused into a corner until the accused are forced to come out and defend themselves, revealing information and details about themselves that they wanted to keep private. Everyone should stop believing the first thing they see about a situation because that's what wrong and strong Trump did, and a lot of you do it too. We have to believe that the accused are innocent until proven guilty. And while we should believe victims, we should think about the situation critically first. The Louis McClung and Danky Jabos situation isn't really a big deal compared to other YouTube dramas. But this is a message to those watching this video. I feel like some people might think it's extreme and or distasteful that I brought up the unfortunate Central Park 5 case. But I'm doing it only to bring awareness to this way of thinking so that those watching this can point out when they see this mindset around them in real life or online. My father has told me of this case several times when talking to me about Trump, so I did my own research about the case, and I saw similarities. I noticed the way Trump might have been thinking and compared it to the way these creators on the internet think. And I thought I should say something about this as a reminder to be mindful. Because in the case of the Central Park 5, they spent time in prison, a dangerous place that will change anyone's life forever, and they were forced to spend time there. Time they will never get back. These situations can be life-changing for the accused, and I can't stress that point enough. Will I go back to watching Louis McClung videos again? Hell no. I unsubscribed from him and subscribed to Danky Jabo. Louis is still young, and there is a lesson to learn from this, and I hope he really grows from this. He should probably watch more conservative YouTubers because it's important to be somewhere in the middle with your views. Same with Katiclyzm, because most of the hate is aimed at Louis, and honestly, that's how it should be, because he didn't have history with Danky Jabo, at all. But Katie also spread false information, and that's why I'm mentioning her here. But that's all I wanted to say. I'm glad you listened, critique is encouraged, and keep an open mind.